What's going on, everybody? Welcome in. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day to all of you. We are halfway through April, and we are 8 or 7 days away from the NFL draft, depending on when you're listening to this. Yes, we are a week away from the NFL draft. All the speculation, all the millions of mock drafts that I'm sure you guys have all looked at over the last couple of months finally will come to an well, it doesn't ever really come to an end because there are going to be some people out there who will start up mock drafts for 2026 as soon as this weekend's over, or next weekend's over rather, but you get the idea. So still some things to go over here on this podcast today. As a matter of fact, we will be doing another podcast tomorrow, so yes, we will have the Chiefs Zone podcast tonight, as you guys are watching, listening live. There will also be one tomorrow, late morning, early afternoon, just kind of depends, because we will hear from Chiefs general manager Brett Veach. There will not be a Red Friday live chat this Red Friday. There will be one at some point next Friday. We'll try to work around the draft and not interfere with the draft, but there will be one at some point next Friday. Just not exactly sure when. Obviously not at our usual time, because that is when the NFL draft will take place. So just be aware of that. On the docket for today's show, even though it's been kind of it's been a fairly quiet month when it comes to Chiefs news, still have some things to discuss though. The Chiefs and Royals, specifically the Royals, but still the both of them kind of speaking out lately. The stadium talks have taken a very interesting turn here. I do want to play an audio clip for you in just a couple of minutes. There seems to be a new tone in the stadium conversation, and I have a lot of questions. I'm confused. Maybe you guys can help me through this one, because I have no answers for you guys on this one. So we'll talk about that, and also what position group will Kansas City focus on the most in the first round? Of course, they're picking 31st, assuming they don't trade out of the first round. What position could they focus on the most? We'll touch on that. It's not going to be a very long podcast here, so we will get into all of that in a timely manner on tonight's podcast. Part of that is because we're going to come back tomorrow, less than 24 hours later, to recap Brett Veach's press conference. Obviously, this might be the last press conference we have from the Chiefs before the NFL draft. I want to let you know this podcast is brought to you by SeatGeek. That is where I go to for all of my sports ticketing needs. We have the NBA playoffs. We've got the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs coming up. I got my Golden Knights hat on, ready to watch the Golden Knights take the cup back. Yes, that's right. That's exactly what's going to happen. We've got a TKO takeover coming to Kansas City next week. PBR, UFC Fight Night, and WWE Raw all coming to T-Mobile Center. You want to catch any of the action, you can go to SeatGeek. That is where I go for all of my sports ticketing needs. And if you're a new customer, you can use my promo code Farzine and save $20 off your first order from SeatGeek. So go to SeatGeek.com, pick your tickets at checkout, enter my promo code Farzine if you're a new SeatGeek customer, and you will save $20 off your first purchase from SeatGeek. Before we go any further, there is one thing I do want to get out there. My good friends over at the Duran Cherry Foundation, they are teaming up with the Third and Long Foundation, Neil Smith's foundation, the Derek Thomas and the Neil Smith Foundation. This is it's been 25 years since Derek Thomas has passed. And the folks over at the Derek Thomas and the Neil Smith Foundation, Third and Long Foundation, and the Duran Cherry Foundation, they are teaming up for something pretty cool here. You can win Derek Thomas Mercedes. It's been looked over, it's been evaluated, it's in good condition, and they're raffling off his Mercedes here. So kind of an interesting little thing here. It's not often you get to say that you got to drive the same vehicle as the same exact vehicle as a professional athlete. So for anyone that wants to do that, you see the tickets right there starting at $100 per entry here. And for those of you watching on the live version here, if you see that QR code right there, I zoomed in on it because I know it was pretty small on the previous version. You can take a screenshot right now and then go through your photo app. Just put your finger, your thumb over that QR code, and it'll pop up. If you're watching on a computer or on your smart TV, I know some of you guys do that as well. You can just scan that through your phone right now, or you can obviously rewind and go back and check it out. So pretty cool. Shout out to the Derek Thomas and Neil Smith Third and Long Foundation and the Duran Cherry Foundation, those two teaming up for something pretty cool like this. So check that out. I wanted to help get the word out there about that. And also the Duran Cherry Foundation, I know they'll have more details about it later on. They've got their nice set of events coming up in the fall where they're going to have the tailgate, the celebrity tailgate, where they also auction off a lot of items for the foundation, and also the celebrity golf weekend that is coming up. A lot of people love golf. I'm not a golfer. By the way, I watched the Masters. Outside of the Mahomes and Kelsey match they had against, I think it was Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, I have never watched golf in my life before. I'm watching Rory McIlroy, everything he's going through. That felt like Super Bowl 58 for me. That was a hell of a show there. Am I going to watch golf regularly? No, probably not. But that was pretty fun nonetheless. All right, let's get into the show here. Let's start things off here by talking about the stadiums in Kansas City. Oh boy, what a fun discussion that's really turned into. It has taken a very interesting turn here. The Chiefs and the Royals, obviously they're trying to figure out what to do. The Royals, for the longest time, have been saying that they want to go downtown, and that has taken a very interesting turn. But I don't want to go there yet. Obviously, there's this Kansas versus Missouri battle where people want the team to play for their state, and then there are some people, small percentage of people like me, who don't really care. They just want the team to stay within the metro area. Now, as far as I know the Dallas mayor spoke up about a year ago and was like, yeah, let's bring the Chiefs back to Dallas where they originally started. But outside of that one small little comment there, and let's be honest, Dallas does need an NFL team. I'm not really hearing anyone threatening to take the Chiefs and the Royals out of the Kansas City metro area in general. I guess there are some rumors that Tennessee's in talks about getting the Royals. It's kind of interesting. I don't know much about that. However, the KC Sports Commission teamed up with a few people. So there was a joint little message. It's a YouTube video made, and there are about 20 to 30 people standing in this video here as a group. And these are, you only hear from a few of them, though. And I'm going to play the audio clip in a minute. You're not going to really recognize the voices. The first guy sounds like Clark Hunt, if I'm being honest. But Kathy Nelson is in this. A lot of people know of Kathy Wilson. This is from the KC Sports Commission, Visit KC, the KC Chamber, Area Development Council, and KC Civil Council. Like, these are groups from the Kansas City area, and I don't know specifically what parts of Kansas City. I assume all in KC-Mo, because we've been hearing people from KC-Mo, whether it's the mayor, whether it's people that live really close to the stadium, or people who live on the Missouri side. They're like, no, we want the Chiefs and the Royals to stay in KC-Mo. Screw Kansas. They can't go there. We've been hearing a lot of that from a lot of people. Now, these people you hear from, they don't have a lot of say, but they are, I mean, listen, their request holds some weight, I would imagine. I mean, if they're going to speak up here, I assume the Chiefs and Royals are going to listen. They have a very interesting message for the Chiefs and the Royals here. So I'm going to play this audio clip for you guys right now. It's from the KC Sports Commission, but the KC Chamber of Commerce also put it on their YouTube channel. It's a joint statement from several groups. Here it is. Check this out.
Greater Kansas City's business and civic organizations are united in a singular mission to ensure the Chiefs and Royals remain in our region for decades to come. But time is not on our side.
which is why we urge our state and local leaders across the region and both teams to work together to create solutions that offer viable options for growth and success into the future.
While both teams are working hard to evaluate their future in KC, other markets are actively competing to lure them away.
To keep these cherished franchises in KC, we need strong, realistic, public-private partnerships that make staying home in our region the only choice.
Sports are vital to Kansas City's identity and history. It's in our DNA. The Royals and Chiefs are key to our region's economic vitality and visibility across the nation and the world.
Now is the time for our KC region to rally.
To protect the championship legacy we've built together.
To secure our region's future as a premier sports destination.
Let's keep the KC region Major League for today and for generations to come.
Okay, so that again was from the KC Sports Commission, KC Chamber of Commerce, Visit KC. A lot of groups right there, a lot of leaders there, and there were more people. You heard about from 4, 5, 6 people in that video clip there, or you just heard the audio version of it, but you get the idea. But there are several people standing behind them. Now, I've listened to that audio clip a couple of times, and if you notice, they use the word region a lot. Now, when I hear the word region, now the word region can mean multiple things. You could be talking about the Kansas City region, the St. Louis region, where you could be talking about areas nearby. You could also be talking about the Midwest region. I don't think we're talking about an area like that where we're referring to the Midwest region. I think safe to say they're talking about the Kansas City region. So something I did, if you guys notice, well, if you guys are watching on the video version, every time they use the word region, I put a tally. They use the word region 7 times in that clip. And they also mentioned Kansas City. They're not saying Kansas City, oh, keep the Royals in Kansas City, Missouri. They're saying keep the Chiefs and the Royals in Kansas City or in KC. And there was someone in there that mentioned other markets making a move for the Chiefs and the Royal. What? Who? I'm confused here. And then there was one person that said the local leaders, I assume they mean elected officials, such as Mayor Quinton Lucas, Governor Kehoe, and for the other politicians to work together with the Chiefs and the Royals to come up with a solution. Yeah, they did that, and that vote failed embarrassingly 12 months ago. They used the word region 7 times. They didn't say Kansas City, Missouri. They said Kansas City or KC. They didn't specify Kansas City, Missouri. Listen, I don't know what the drive was in making this video clip that they made, but it sounds like I guarantee you there's at least one person in that group there in that video that's been, KC Mo all the way, stay in KC Mo, KC Mo, KC Mo. That's the thing, everyone, it's KCK versus KC Mo. But now it's like, okay, now stay in the region. Just stay in the region. We don't care. 119th and Null, Overland Park, North KC, Legends. Stay in KC. Just stay in the Kansas City area, please. So how did we go from KC Mo to the region? Because there are a lot of people that have been, like the mayor. I mean, he's gone on Pete Mundo's show, and he kind of, if you listen to the mayor when he did some local radio interviews about a year ago this time, right after the vote failed, dude, you can tell he was eating crow. I mean, he was not speaking with a lot of confidence, and you could tell he was just as embarrassed about the outcome. I remember when the Chiefs and the Royals, when the vote failed, they were at the Yes rally. Mark Donovan, Clark Hunt was not present, but Mark Donovan was there as the Chiefs rep, and John Sherman, when the vote failed. You see this a lot in politics. Whenever a vote is over, the losing politician will come out, speak out, and say, "Hey, thank you for being here. Thank you for the support, the rally, all that stuff." the Chiefs and the Royals, Donovan and Sherman to be exact, they came out and you could just tell with the look on their faces, they were not happy. They did not see this coming at all. And I was listening to local radio. I don't listen to a lot of local sports talk radio because it's not very good, if I'm being honest. But I mean, everyone just assumed that this was going to go in favor of the Chiefs and the Royals. My biggest issue with the Chiefs and the Royals here, the Royals provided no clarity whatsoever and absolutely provided no logistical explanation as to how this is going to work. In fact, I think they kind of changed up their plans as they were leading up to the vote. The Chiefs, on the other hand, their renovation proposal was fairly underwhelming, if we're being completely honest. Nothing really just blew my mind like, oh my God, we have to have this at Arrowhead. I never had that takeaway when I looked at the renovation ideas that they had. And then 2 weeks before the vote, Clark Hunt pens a letter to local Jackson County residents, and also it's on the Chiefs website, promising certain things like help with local housing, local schools, all just basically helping the community if the yes vote happens. So now it's like you're bribing people. I think they were pretty scared by Casey Tenants at that point, because I know they had a pretty big voice in all of this. I don't think Casey Tenants was the reason for all of this. I mean, Kansas City, Jackson County specifically, has rejected the Chiefs and the Royals before. Remember the rolling roof proposal? I mean, there was no social media back then. There wasn't a Casey Tenants back then. They rejected that without any of those kinds of things happening back then at the time. And by the way, the mayor too, he does live streams on his Facebook page, and he admitted, it's deleted, you can't find the video to this now, but he admitted that he was unaware about the lack of communication between the Royals and the businesses at the Crossroads, because the Royals claim they had been talking to people at the Crossroads, and the business owners there were saying, nope, that never happened. We have not had any conversations whatsoever. So that was just a disaster. And it was not a surprise to me the vote failed. If anything, I'm surprised there were not more votes in favor of the no vote. I know the Chiefs caught a lot of flack because Mark Donovan seemed like he was kind of threatening the voters by saying, hey, if we don't get this to go our way, then we might consider moving. Wait a minute, like leaving Arrowhead? Leaving Kansas City? Leaving the entire area as a whole? And they have to provide some clarity and kind of do damage control on that. But now that there seems to be a whole new tone here where they just want the Chiefs and the Royals to stay within the region. There's no longer this fight for KC Mo, stay in Missouri. It's just stay in the area. John Sherman and Clark Hunt both issued a statement here. This was I saw this on Fox 4's website. They're both very short. They don't say much, but they say a little bit here. I'll read them for you quickly. First, from John Sherman, our ownership group is grateful for the support of this immersive coalition of civic leadership, which has come together to help us continue to thrive in the region. Again, you hear the word region. Greater Kansas City is our team's home. For our fans, our partners, and our major league community, we want to keep it that way. And from Chiefs owner Clark Hunt, also fairly short, a little longer than Sherman's, but he says our family and our organization are certainly thankful to see the support from local civic leaders in Kansas City. The Chiefs have called this our home for more than 6 decades, and we have made countless memories along generations of Chiefs fans. Working with our partners and community leaders, we remain committed to the continued growth and success of our entire region. Again, you hear that word region. I mean, listen, Chiefs fans and Royals fans are not only located in KC Mo. Like, I get that. We've got fans across the area. We have some fans who drive in from Columbia, Branson, Lawrence, Topeka, Manhattan, Wichita, St. Louis, and probably other areas too, Omaha, couple spots in Iowa, whatnot. I'm sure some in Arkansas and Oklahoma. I get that. But the battle the last 12 months has been, oh my, they have to stay in Missouri or I will never support this team ever again. And the mayor, he kind of started singing a whole new tune here about 11 months ago when he, with a lot of confidence, said the Chiefs are going to renovate their stadium and continue playing at Arrowhead, and the Royals will play in downtown Kansas City. And the mayor, like I said, he does these live streams on his Facebook page, and I shared this, and one of his arguments against the Chiefs moving to Kansas to build a brand new stadium is that renovating Arrowhead, his words, not mine, renovating Arrowhead is vastly more cost effective than spending at least $2 billion in Kansas. And he specified $2 billion. Well, Mr. Mayor, with all due respect, that argument doesn't really work when you are working really hard to spend $2 billion on a downtown Royal Stadium. Like you can't sit here and say, well, spending $2 billion to move some jobs a few miles, not really worth it. Yet you're doing this. You want to do the same thing for the Royals. That argument doesn't really work here. And here's my question, because you guys know me, I don't care where they move to, as long as it's in the Kansas City area and as long as they do it right. I do think it's time for a new stadium. Arrowhead, I mean, listen. It is. I see some of your guys' comments about it already. It's nostalgic. It's beautiful as far as the environment goes. There's nothing aesthetically great about the stadium. The entire bowl is just a bunch of seats, and yeah, they added that nice little skybox there. But at the end of the day, they keep putting band-aids on this. They've renovated Arrowhead a couple of times now. I think it's time for a new stadium. And listen, the Chiefs spent a whole week, not this past Super Bowl, but the Super Bowl before that, in Vegas, and they got to use the Raiders practice facility there, which is fairly new. So they got a lot of time to spend there and learn some things. They visit the Chargers and the Raiders every year, and they certainly get to see their new stadium. So they can figure out what works and doesn't work by learning from those two stadiums there, as well as some of the other stadiums they've visited in recent years, the Vikings, the Falcons, and so on. But here's the thing. Why is Missouri not saying anything about building a new stadium? And I don't know where you put it. You can keep it at the Truman Sports Complex. You can take it somewhere else. I don't know what really great options you have, but let's just say, the Chiefs want a new stadium. And I know I know a lot of people say, oh, well, football should be played indoors. And I've seen a couple of people say that when they go to a Chiefs Raiders game in Vegas, they don't like it because it's indoor. I've been to a couple of Chiefs Raiders game in Vegas, and listen, Allegiant Stadium is a great stadium. I've also been there for a concert. I'm going to actually go back there this summer for another concert. But the idea that football should be played in outdoor, whatever the elements are, I don't really buy that. Are you really buying that if you're a Chiefs fan? Because if you really believe that, how come Arrowhead didn't pack the stadium when they had that cold tundra game with the Dolphins in the playoffs? I mean, you can't sit here and tell me that football should be played outdoors, whatever the elements are, and then not pack the house. I mean, listen, I know you're only in control of just yourself, but I know a lot of people who say these things. I mean, if you're going to tell me that, but you were not at Arrowhead for that cold game, your argument doesn't hold a lot of weight with me. Just doesn't. What I do know is the Chiefs do need a new stadium. Forget about the Super Bowl thing. Yeah, the Chiefs will get a Super Bowl. Are they going to be an active rotation for a Super Bowl? Probably not. Might have one once every 10 to 20 years. Okay. I mean, you can still get a lot of other great events. You can get Final Fours, WrestleManias, concerts. Some musicians when they do concerts, they prefer it to be indoors. I mean, listen, I've never been to a concert at Arrowhead before, but I cannot imagine going in the sweltering heat in this humidity for a concert. I mean, if Taylor Swift or whoever is there and you're in love with them and you don't give a damn about the weather, I suppose. But I would also imagine whether it's a concert or a football game, you would prefer to be there without the cold weather or the rain. I mean, let's be honest. I've been to Arrowhead a couple of times when it's rained. It's not the most fun experience. You prefer it to you prefer to enjoy it without all of that shit. I mean, come on. Nobody wants to go to a football game and watch it in the rain in their poncho or, soaking their shirt and their pants soaking wet. Looks like you just peed yourself. Nobody wants that. I do think it's time for a new stadium. But why is Missouri not coming up with that? Because the mayor is saying spending that much money is not costly, more cost effective. I mean, come on. That argument just doesn't work when you're willing to do that with the Royals. And by the way, speaking of the Royals, what is going on with them? Because I saw this on, I believe it was Fox 4. Yeah, it was Fox 4. So there's a Missouri senator who thinks that North Kansas City is now the new top spot for the Royals after a new poll. This is from Clay County leaders on Tuesday, saying that a new poll was conducted to see if there's interest in bringing the Kansas City Royals north of the river. Didn't we try that spot already? Okay, so the Royals have gone from, this is where they started, North Kansas City. They have renderings for it. In fact, Fox 4 just reused those renderings for their story. So we've gone from North Kansas City to downtown Kansas City, right next to T-Mobile Center, to Washington Square Park, to 119th and Null, back to Washington Square Park, and now back to North Kansas City. I'm sure there might be a mental stop somewhere in there in terms of ideas and renderings that I might have missed. I mean, Blue Hawk, I guess, has to be a play at some point. What is going on with the Royals? Why can they not zero in on a decision here? Because they've said, John Sherman said very clearly he wants a downtown stadium. So why are we going back and forth with all these potential spots here? That doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. Look, it's been 12 months since that vote failed. It is kind of getting to a point with me. Okay, this is getting tedious. This is getting annoying. I just want to know what the hell is going to happen here. And Clark Hunt has mentioned potential deadlines and whatnot. I mean, I'll tell you right now, if you want to build a new football stadium, that decision has to be made very soon. I mean, it's got to be within the next year, within the next 12 months. Clark Hunt mentioned this summer as a potential deadline. It's got to be done very, very soon. I don't know progress-wise where they've gotten with all of this. The Chiefs are expected to announce their newest member of the team's Hall of Fame and Ring of Honor very soon. And usually draft weekend, I think it's on day 3 of the draft, is when you will hear from Clark Hunt. Clark Hunt's going to be asked a lot of questions next weekend, assuming he does a press conference like he usually does on draft weekend. There are going to be a lot of questions asked. And I hope someone in the media has the cojones to say, hey, Clark, this has been kind of going on for a while here. We understand this is going to be a big project here, but is there any progress being made with anything? Like, do we know realistically when we'll get the final word on this? Because I'll be honest with you guys, I'm kind of tired of the speculation. I mean, a lot of it is out there. I've kind of said the same things over and over again. I know you guys have all had the same opinions. A lot of you guys don't really have different opinions on any of this stuff. No one's opinion is going to change on this kind of thing. So what's the holdup here? Why are we not getting a final answer I mean, I guess from the Chiefs, because if you're going to build a new stadium, that's got to start happening very soon. Now, I don't know what's going on with the Royals and why there's so much flip-flopping here, at least from the speculation side of things, because, again, we don't really know what's happening. Because when the Chiefs and the Royals thought they knew what was going on, they just got smacked in the face by that Jackson County vote. What I will say is this. I kind of wonder if the Royals are a little worried about the crime happening downtown. I know a big topic here, and it's a big topic, but it's not getting enough coverage. I'm surprised this is not getting any national attention. Some of the street racing and donuts that are happening downtown, those kinds of things, like that's been a big deal. There was someone with on one of those big ATVs, like we're talking one of those big ATVs that people use if they've got a lot of open land in their on their property. And there's not a lot of footage on this, but you see a police officer trying to stop somebody on an ATV. That ATV driver just goes up on two wheels and trucks over that police officer. His head hits the concrete hard. Thank God he's alive. To my understanding, he's been released from the hospital, but is still recovering. And this kind of thing with street racing, people showing off their vehicle, doing donuts, all these things downtown. That's been going on for a couple of years now. You see people at their apartments downtown filming these things and posting them online. I wonder if the Royals saw that. And maybe that's where this new speculation of going North KC is. I mean, North KC is not too terribly far from downtown. Whether it's the central part where they wanted to build it beside T-Mobile Center, or where Washington Square Park is, which is south of the downtown area, right beside Union Station. I mean, listen, there's so much speculation in all of this. I just kind of want it to come to an end because it's been going on for a very, very long time. And I guess now the tone is, hey, just stay within the region. We don't care where you go, KCMO, KCK, 119th and freaking Knoll of all places. Just stay within the region. I mean, I don't know. Kind of makes me wonder if Kansas is in very serious play to get maybe the Chiefs. I don't think the Royals. See, Brandon's asking, is Overland Park still a possibility for the Royals or the Chiefs? Definitely not the Chiefs. The Royals, it's been talked about. I know Blue Hawk is another potential location. That is way too far south. If you go to Blue Hawk, you are closer to Spring Hill than you are downtown Kansas City. If you go to 119th and Knoll, I mean, it's south of the area, not too south. But I just don't know if that area makes sense. So, I mean, listen, I just want the speculation to all come to an end, but it won't be anytime soon, unfortunately. Holly's asking, when will I get info on Chiefs training camp? That usually comes out right when OTAs end. And I'll definitely put it out there as soon as they say something. Where in KC can the Chiefs build besides Arrowhead? Rochelle is asking. That's a great question. I mean, there aren't a lot of options. The beauty of Arrowhead and the Truman Sports Complex really is that giant parking lot that you have right there, and it's right next to 435 and 35. The problem is it is kind of located in the middle of nowhere. It really is. I mean, you're just driving on 435 or I-70. You're passing several places. Really, you're just passing by a bunch of trees and hills. And then you have the stadiums at kind of a random exit there. I think, and you see this with a lot of teams now, especially baseball stadiums. I think what the Chiefs and the Royals want to do is they want to go to a more lively area, like the Legends, like downtown. I get that. There are some logistical issues there. From the Chiefs side of things, I mean, if you go to an indoor stadium, a lot of these indoor stadiums, they're not big like Jerry's World, referring to Cowboy Stadium, of course. A lot of these indoor stadiums are usually 50, 60-ish thousand seats. So you're not going to have, I mean, Arrowhead used to be 80,000 at one point. Now it's 70,000. And now it could even drop by another 10,000. Just kind of depends. I mean, you're talking about a lot of seats. I wonder if the Chiefs could maybe build something like Cowboy Stadium, Arlington Stadium, Arlington, Texas, AT&T Stadium, excuse me. Because, I mean, listen, Chiefs fans have never had an issue packing the area. Maybe during the Scott Pioli era, sure, that was also when the recession was kind of, or the recovery from the recession was happening at the time. Because even when the Chiefs were good in 2010, you saw a lot of empty seats, especially on the second floor where they have those yellow seats, those fairly pricey seats, by the way. But yeah. Do we think Teresa's asking, Chiefs still thinking of moving to Kansas? I mean, it's in play. It's in play for sure. So I don't know. Travis says, I think we need to discuss a very scenic and safe area. I suggest Passaic. Oh boy. Travis, you're opening up a can of worms with that comment there. Yeah, let me know if you guys have any other thoughts on this. Yeah, 1587 Prime. I'm told it's going to open in August, though, Scott, not July. I know there were some updates about what people can expect from that steakhouse, but I am told by a very, very reliable, so someone within 1587 Prime, that it is expected to open in August, but I suppose that that can change as well. All right, we know the NFL draft is next week. A lot of the focus usually with the draft is the first round. Some people watch the second round, and if you're a football nerd like me, you focus on all 3 days of the draft. But I just kind of wonder with the Chiefs, what direction will they go in with the first pick? Let's just assume they stay at 31. They don't trade up. They don't trade out of the first round. If they trade down, I don't think they're swapping picks with the Eagles. Let's just assume they stay at number 31 there. Maybe they trade up a few spots like they did last year to get Xavier Worthy. What are the Chiefs going to focus on? What position group? A lot of people think it could be offensive line, whether it's a left tackle or a left guard. I certainly think that's very logical to assume. Some people think the Chiefs might focus on defensive line, specifically the defensive tackle spot, to get someone next to Chris Jones. Chris Jones is already on a monster deal right now. Now, if you can get a rookie that plays really well, plays almost just as well as Chris Jones, man, that guy's going to be on a rookie contract for a couple of years, playing beside Chris Jones, who's a future Hall of Famer. That would be huge for Kansas City's defense. Absolutely. They always say that in order to win games, you have to win at the line of scrimmage, win at the trenches. And, a lot of the conversation so far is the Chiefs could go after an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman. I feel like if you were to put money down, you're pretty certain that the Chiefs are going to get a lineman, either offensive lineman or a defensive lineman. I think a lot of people would be shocked if they went safety or cornerback with the first pick. Well, with the 31st pick, to be clear, Kansas City's first pick. Not to say there aren't any good cornerbacks or safeties. The quarterback class is actually pretty good. I think you'll see some guys go in the first round at the quarterback position, but I don't think that's a serious need for Kansas City in round one. Linebacker, I certainly thought was a possibility prior to Nick Bolton re-signing with the Chiefs. I mean, if somebody like Luther Burden falls, I keep going back. I don't think he will. But if he does, I think the Chiefs are seriously going to consider it. I really do. And they might address offensive line or defensive line a little later on in the draft. And keep in mind, they've got the second round pick and they've got a very high third round pick. They're picking 63rd and 66th. So 2 picks very close to each other. And then they've got the other third round pick as well, where maybe you can find someone that can be a quality starter for you. Maybe not a day one starter with the 96th pick, I think. Maybe not a day one starter, but an eventual starter, someone who plays a lot. Here's one question I have. And Brett Veach will do his press conference tomorrow. He won't show his cards, of course. No GM ever will. I'm sure it'll be asked. I kind of wonder, though, because I know one big question Veach will be asked about will be Kingsley Suamataia potentially playing left guard. The Chiefs have Jalen Moore at left tackle, okay? how confident are the Chiefs in having Jalen Moore be their left tackle going into week 1? How confident are they in who they have at left guard right now? Whether it's Kingsley Suamataia, whether it's Mike Caliendo, who started some games at left guard last year, maybe you move a guy like Hunter Norzad from center to left guard. I think I really do think the Chiefs have a good player there in Hunter Norzad if he gets an opportunity. I just wonder, because again, I've said this many times in the past, in years past, when we talk about the draft and free agency, what we think is a need for the Chiefs or for any football team out there, does the general manager for that team agree with us? When I say us, I'm talking as fans, those in the media. Because again, fans in the media, they'll always have their opinions on what each team needs. But maybe those teams, front offices, their scouts, the GMs, they might not agree with us. My point here is, I kind of wonder if the Chiefs are complacent. I hate to say it because I'm not at this place with the Chiefs offensive line, but are the Chiefs at a spot where they're comfortable with what they have and Jalen Moore and maybe Kingsley Suamataia at left guard? Because if they are, offensive line is probably out of contention for that number 31 pick. In fact, they might not even target an offensive lineman in the first 3 rounds, in the first 2 days of the draft. I hope they do. I think you need some sort of a blanket security of some kind here, a security blanket, excuse me. Because when you look at the list here, I mean, Gray Zabel, I think, would be a very good guard, has some experience playing left and right tackle. I know there's some speculation that the Chiefs could get Kelvin Banks, trade up to get him. I've also talked about Josh Connerly Jr., the guy from Oregon. Josh Simmons from Ohio State is a name I've seen the Chiefs tie to in multiple mock drafts. I think he'd be gone by number 31, but some people think the Chiefs would get him at 31. I mean, you've got some options. You obviously do. Just because you're picking very late in the first round does not mean there are not going to be any good players whatsoever that late in the draft. No, there certainly will be. The Chiefs got George Karlaftis in late in the first round. The Chiefs got Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, Nick Bolton outside of the first round in the same draft class, mind you. Travis Kelce, keep in mind, was a 3rd round pick. Jamal Charles, Kareem Hunt, Justin Houston. So the Chiefs, Jared Allen, who just went into the Hall of Fame, he was drafted in the 4th round by the Chiefs as a long snapper. So the Chiefs, historically speaking, with different regimes, of course, they've done a pretty good job finding some really good football players in later rounds. So I trust that. And Brad Veach has done this as well. He really has. He's included in that mix there I mentioned. I just kind of wonder, because I know the Chiefs have been pretty active in bringing back a lot of players. They've lost a couple of players, Justin Reed, Treshaun Wharton. But in general, DeAndre Hopkins, I think the Chiefs have done a good job of re-signing certain players to the point where they don't have a massive glaring hole. So, for example, if they don't go defensive tackle and draft a guy like Walter Nolan, Kenneth Grant, Derek Harmon, Darius Alexander at the defensive tackle spot in the first round, well, they feel pretty good about Mike Pennell. I mean, this is his 2nd stint with the team, and they just re-signed him. That's a guy who, has been fairly active with Kansas City's defensive tackle rotation in years past. Is that someone who could maybe play more downs, be a starter, and play a lot more for Kansas City defensively? If I had to bet right now, I do think Kansas City, as I said before, I think Kansas City is pretty comfortable with what they have at the offensive line. I think they'll still maybe go and try to provide some quality depth in the 2nd or 3rd rounds. Again, you got 3 picks in day 2. So I would imagine Kansas City tries to get at least 1 offensive lineman on day 2. But I do think that Kansas City is going to try to beef up that defensive line. You've got George Karlaftis. He's in the final year of his deal with the possibility of a 5th-year option, and you've got to make a decision on that within the next 2 weeks because the deadline for that is May the 1st. So we'll see what the Chiefs want to do with him and Trent McDuffie. You've got Mike Dana back. You've got Charles Omenihu back. Obviously, Chris Jones right there in the middle anchoring that defensive line. If you were to go get one of these big boys right beside Chris Jones, and a lot of people think it could be Derek Harmon from Oregon, that would be a really nice defensive line to have. And Kansas City's defensive line would kind of resemble that Minnesota Vikings defensive line where they had Jared Allen and the Williams duo there. You guys remember that? And I think it would really help Kansas City's defense for sure because those blitz packages, they love sending linebackers and defensive backs. A lot of nickel and dime packages. Spags loves that. And I think a guy like Derek Harmon can help create one-on-one matchups on that line of scrimmage. And maybe one offensive lineman just completely loses focus. And that's where a linebacker or a defensive back goes in there and gets that sack on the quarterback. Because I think that's what the Chiefs need. They had a lot of pressures. They had a lot of almost sacks. Pressures are great. But if they don't turn into ill-advised passes, it doesn't really matter. We saw a lot of quarterbacks take advantage at the very last second and go out there and throw the pass at the very last moment while under duress. And I think that was a problem with Kansas City last year, defensively speaking. Defensively, don't get me wrong, the Chiefs defense is still very good. Not as great as it was in 2023. I think they took a little bit of a step back, and I said that was going to be the case, especially with L'Jarius Sneed being traded away, which, by the way, was still a good trade because Sneed unfortunately got hurt and missed a lot of games, and the Chiefs got a very high third-round draft pick out of him. But I think in general, getting a defensive tackle like Harmon or Alexander would really help keep the Chiefs have a stout defense and continue to do the things they've been able to do the last couple of years. I think one thing I'd like to see is more sacks when you look at last year, and I think more forced turnovers. This is not a Chiefs defense that's known for forcing so many turnovers. They were second in sacks 2 years ago. Where did they rank in sacks this past year? It could not have been very high because that was a big complaint as the season went on. The Broncos, they had a lot. They had 63. Baltimore had 54. Baltimore was second on the list. They were first the year before. The Chiefs, they're kind of a middle of the tier team. They had 39 sacks, just like Buffalo. I feel like they collected a lot more sacks in the month of December. I don't know. I would have guessed less. I don't know. 39. That's not a lot. It's also, I think the Chiefs defense is capable of getting more than that. I mean, they're just below average in that category. So I think having a guy like Derek Harmon would certainly help Chris Jones and the rest of the defensive line, as well as those blitzers there, whether it's a linebacker or a defensive back going after the quarterback. So I'd like to see the Chiefs focus on that in the first round. I think that is the direction they'll go towards. If Luther Burden falls and is available, I don't think he will, but I see that speculation on some mock drafts. Whew. It is so hard to pass on Luther Burden. It's impossible to say no to him if he's there. Yeah, I know the Chiefs have Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, but you can't have enough wide receivers in today's NFL. You just can't. That would be a lot, especially with Rashee Rice. You don't quite know what's going to happen with his suspension quite yet. That would be a big get for Kansas City's offense. It really would. I would, if I had to bet on it, if Burns available, I think Kansas City takes him over a defensive tackle. I really do. We'll see what they do. We'll hear from Brett Veach tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow, likely 12 o'clock Central Time is when we'll do the podcast. So we'll react to Brett Veach's press conference. There will not be a Red Friday live chat this week since we're doing back-to-back podcasts. And like I said, it's been a fairly quiet month for Kansas City, so not a whole lot to discuss. But there will be one next Friday. I don't know exactly what day next Friday, but we'll we'll figure it out. We'll obviously work around the NFL draft time and not interfere with that, but we'll discuss that and react to day one of the draft. So that'll no Right Friday live chat this week. We'll have one next week after the first round, but there will be another episode of the Chiefs Zone podcast tomorrow. So with that said, I appreciate all of you guys tuning in, joining live with the conversations. And for those of you who listen to the archive version, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, anywhere where you can download or listen to a podcast, appreciate all of you guys as well. I am Farzin Vasugian. I will be back tomorrow, less than 24 hours later. Until then, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Take care.